Hi, I'm Bart Hanson, the owner and operator of CrushLivePoker.com. The following hand comes from our call-in show that we record at 4:45 p.m. Pacific Time every Monday. If you want to call in your hand, check out the phone number in the description.
1.2K effective, and the villain's got me covered by about 1,000. He's got about 2.2K.
Okay.
So villain is right to the left of me. He's under the gun, and he raises to 15. And very standard open. He's been talking a lot about his style, about his strategy during the game, which not too many people do, but he's one of the people that do, giving away a lot of information, saying $15 is a standard open. I've seen him open with, pocket aces to 15, ace king, king queen, all to 15. So it's his regular open. The low jack, high jack, and button call. So top at $60 now, and I look down at two red jacks in the big blind.
Okay.
So I decide to put on the squeeze, and I make it $100. I know the sizing was maybe a little bit small. I don't know. I think that was kind of my first question is how do you feel about the sizing?
It's 15, 1, 2, 3, 4 people, 60. Yeah, you could probably go to like maybe 125 or 130 here. It is a little bit small with these stacks. Also, you don't always have to squeeze here with jacks. Sometimes I can actually complete the action if 15 is actually the standard raise. But with that many people out there, there seems to be a lot of value in the overlay and the dead money. So, but again, talking about configuration, say for example, under the gun raised and under the gun one called, and it got back around to you in the big blind, I could easily see flatting jacks. Here, there seems to be a lot of dead money. So you raised to 100.
Okay. So I raised to 100.
Yep.
The villain calls, and then everybody else folds.
Okay.
So $245 in the pot.
Yep.
And the flop comes 10 of diamonds, deuce of clubs.
Okay.
And I bet out 125. And he just flashed.
Yeah,
So
I would probably bet. I would
called.
probably bet a little bit smaller here.
Okay.
Again, that's sort of new school kind of sizing stuff. But you bet half the pot, and he calls.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So now the pot is what, 495?
495.
Okay.
Right. So then the turn is the deuce of spades. So there's 3 deuces on the board and a 10 with 2 diamonds.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm just kind of thinking when he flats the flop, he's either got a flush draw or a 10. I put him on a pretty narrow range, or possibly an overpair. And I haven't. That's the other thing too. I saw him. He didn't 3-bet aces or kings 2 times when I saw him have aces and kings, which is a little unusual. So I guess I also put him on some better overpairs, maybe queens or kings.
But see, this is exactly what I'm talking about when we're trying to pay attention to configuration. This guy doesn't really have that many 10s here, because I think that you might be jumping and looking at the board, but bringing it back to preflop, right? He raised under the gun. Everybody called and you squeezed, right? So
yeah.
I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, even if he's opening like Queen 10 suited, King 10 suited, and Ace 10 suited, some of those are supposed to probably be folded with a bunch of people behind, maybe like the King 10 and the Queen 10 suited. Maybe he has Ace 10 suited. There's only like 3 combos of that, though. I mean, I guess you'd have Jack 10 suited. You've got the Jack of diamonds, so there's 2 or 3 of that. But a lot of these guys that you think are nitty are just going to fold, and whether it probably slightly incorrectly, but they're going to fold those hands. Like, do you think this guy's going to open Ace 10 and call your 3-bet of 100 with like 5 people behind him? Maybe just Ace 10 suited,
Yeah, maybe Ace 10 suited only, honestly. I also highly doubt King 10. So yeah, I did start to maybe put him on an overpair at this point, because on the turn I bet 250. The pot was what, 495. So I bet I bet about half pot.
I gotta say, I think the turn is probably a check. Once you bet that sizing on the flop and he calls, I
Mhm.
think that he probably has. So, if he's got a pair,
Mhm.
sixes, sevens, eights, nines, something like that, there's a very good chance he's going to check it through. Or he might bet
I,
small and you can check call. But betting
okay.
250 here on the turn, I don't think that really accomplishes all that much because you sort of sized him off of a lot of ace kings on the flop. Maybe he peels with ace king, but if you bet that on the turn, he's going to fold. Yeah, you're giving up some equity, but I
Yeah.
don't know what you are. I feel like when you get called by this bet size on the turn, usually you're
Yeah.
not good.
I could be beat here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was actually my second question. My main question was, do I ever check there? And I guess you answered that question just then. So, and then when if I check and he bets there, say he bets, 200, 250, you just flat there always, right? I mean,
Yeah, you check call. Uh-huh.
okay.
You check call,
Okay.
and then, depending on what the river is, you can check and evaluate. I mean, a guy like this, if you check call the turn and the river's a brick and you check and like he moves all in, usually you're just gonna
Yeah.
fold. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like so but he's gonna check behind like eights and nines. So you bet 250, what happened?
So I bet 250 and he just flats again. Um, so
Yeah.
I don't, yeah, I was a little confused. I was thinking ace 10, but still, queens, kings still made sense,
So
to
just
just flat
again, I
there.
mean, there's a couple. I monitor the live chat too, and a couple people. I
Yeah.
don't know if they misunderstand. What I'm saying is that this caller said that he had sort of seen this guy sometimes flat with like aces and kings. He's like an older guy or something.
No, he's like mid-30s,
Okay, all right,
but
whatever.
he's a little bit, I'd say he's a little bit tighter than
Okay,
usual.
so my
Sure.
contention here
Yeah.
is that I don't really think that there are a whole lot of tens here that this guy has, unless it's specifically ace ten suited, and that's because I just think if he's opening, whoa, you in a tunnel or something? If he's opening king 10 or queen 10 or jack 10 with the field behind him, I feel like there's a very good chance he's going to fold those out pretty with the entire field behind him. But so you said that now you're confused when he called the turn, and that's always problematic. I mean, this goes back to old school CLP stuff. Whenever you make a bet or a raise,
Yeah.
and then when you get called, you're like, oh shit, then you've done something
Yeah.
wrong.
Mhm.
Do you follow me?
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of how I felt at this
Yeah.
point. I kind of felt like I was beat
If you're
there.
doing that for value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I really shouldn't be betting there for value, which is why he said I should probably be checking there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now
So,
you have what, like 700 or 800 left and the pot's like 1,000?
yeah, pot's 1,000. I have like 725 left.
Okay.
So the river was a pretty sweet card. It was a jack of clubs. So I went from, not really knowing what I was going to do on the river. I was probably just going to check the river on any blank card. But the jack of clubs came,
Honestly,
and so now,
the way that you played the hand, I would probably check fold the river. I would expect the villain might even check back a hand. Well, let's say the river is a 3. Okay.
okay,
If you check and he bets, I don't think you ever have the best hand, given the way that you played this.
no, yeah,
Um, even though nothing changes, but this is a great example of how just betting patterns, the betting changes things. But like I
right,
said, there's a fundamental flaw with the way that you've played this hand. But if the river's a 3, you check and he bets like 700. I don't think you have the best hand here, like ever.
right,
Um,
yeah,
and but you sort of set yourself up that way. Now it really looks like he's strong. I would probably just ship all in now. I really think this
okay,
guy's really strong now.
yeah,
And I would probably ship all in. Now, if you checked, I'm trying to think of like guys actually, even though people aren't thin value betters,
uh-huh.
they will tend to bet their overpairs when the board has 3 of a kind on it. You know what I'm saying? Like queens. I would just hate to see like queens get like checked back or like kings get checked back. People just
Right,
don't go super thin sometimes, and those hands are going to call. So I would just rip here.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, and so I was planning on doing that when that card came out. Obviously, that completely changed, the whole line that I took on the hand. So I
Yeah.
was just gonna rip, but then when the river peeled, he pretended to start folding his hand. Like he was pretending to throw his hand in the muck.
Well, that's even more of a reason to rip all in then, because that's like usually a reverse tell that's trying to get you to like not bet, but when you do it, he's still gonna call. You know what I
Right?
mean?
Yeah. Like he was trying to make me to down bet, but he's still gonna call no matter what.
Yeah, you've got how much? You said you have
Mhm.
700 left,
Yeah. Hmm.
and the pot's 1,000,
Right.
and you had him covered or he had you covered?
He has me covered by
Okay.
1,000.
Just a little
Yeah.
live intangible thing. Sometimes, let's say that the stacks were swapped around where you had the 2,200 and he had 12. I
Mhm.
might bet like 600 or 650 and leave him with some money. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
But he's got you covered, so it doesn't matter because if you rip and he calls, he still has money in front of him.
Right. So yeah, I guess that was a big mistake on my part, not picking that up. I was when he started to muck his hand or pretended to, it made me down bet a little bit, and I bet 350. And he called, and he had pocket queens.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely feel like I played the hand pretty poorly. Obviously, results oriented. Looking back at it, it turned out pretty good for me. But I'm glad you gave me some advice on that because I definitely feel like I definitely misplayed a lot of the streets on that hand.
So somebody in the live chat said, Dave, who was actually one of our callers, if the turn goes check check, does the hero lead the river? Yeah, I think you have to lead the river. Because if the turn goes check check, it's usually going to be like eights and nines. You don't bet huge, but you try to get called by those hands.
Yeah.
If it went check check. But yeah, I think like I said early on in the hand, you've put way too much money in.
Mhm.
You've over represented your hand for this particular configuration. Do you see what I'm saying? And again, this is much,
Yeah.
much different than say like the button opened and you three bet. And you were happy
Right.
to shovel money in here with jacks on 10 deuce deuce. But this is under the gun, right? Under the gun versus a
Right.
button three bet with a bunch of people behind him, meaning that he's going to
Mhm.
fold out a lot of the hands because he doesn't
Yeah.
want to play out of position against the rest of the field. So that's the
Yeah.
important thing to think about. Hey guys, if you like what you've seen here, please click on the subscribe button and you'll get notified every time we put up a new video. And if you want to check out crushlivepoker.com for the first month free, use the code YTA100. Click on the link right there.